Hello.
Did you just say you didn't put on deodorant today?
Maybe. I can't remember. Hello, podcast listeners. We are recording. Don't talk about my deodorant choices.
Welcome!
Couldn't actively say for a fact that I wore deodorant today, therefore I may not have. I don't remember.
It happens.
I'm running around getting our daughter ready in the morning, trying to make it out of the door. We were late this morning. Welcome to the Boles of Life podcast. I'm Tyler.
And I'm Virginia.
I don't know if I'm wearing deodorant.
And as we've gone through life, we've learned something important.
Wear deodorant.
Because it's messy.
No, see, the thing we actually learned is that life is messy, like not wearing deodorant. But there are a lot of armchair experts out there like my wife who try to tell me that I should always remember my deodorant. And she'll also try to tell me how to make life simple, or at least some armchair experts will. So they try to tell you life's simple.
But it's not. It's not that simple.
No.
It's not like I haven't forgotten it before. Maybe.
So you see, you're not going to find any armchair experts here.
Yeah, so instead you'll find everyday people who have jumped into the mess of life and are making an adventure of it.
Love it. How's that for a cold opener for the day? That's fun.
You set yourself up for that one.
Maybe a little. It's okay. It's fine. What are we doing today, babe?
We're having a podcast.
Oh, okay.
Like we always do.
When we do this?
When we do this.
I love it. It's so good.
What are we talking about?
We are talking about social wellness today. It is one of our last two in the H dimensions of...
The what?
The H dimensions. The 8 dimensions. Leave me alone.
Okay.
It's 9:26 in the evening, and it's been I did stuff today, and words are hard.
It's been a day. Like
it hasn't.
A normal
It's
day.
been a normal day. We're talking about social wellness, and we're doing a great job of it. Mm-hmm. What's social wellness, Virginia?
Well, social wellness is all about just being able to have healthy relationships with others. That and enjoying it. Yes. They're healthy and you enjoy it. Developing friendships, intimate relationships, caring about others, but also letting others care about you.
Yeah, I don't want to do that last part as much. It's hard for me. But basically, like social wellness, it's having a community and contributing back to that community. So it's not just letting them contribute to you, but you contribute to them. It's, it works in both directions as it needs to. So we decided we would hang out with one of our more social friends tonight, Miss Allysa Graham, and she's going to spend a little time digging into her socialness, talking about encountering some introverts and how she manages her levels based on people's, their levels, I guess, of desire to be social.
Their social energy.
Their social energy.
Was the term we used.
There you go. Social energy.
I kind of made it up, but
I like it. It's a good term. I'm going to use it in life from now on.
But yeah, she just kind of gives us a little insight into her, her social energy, her ability to be social with others. And it is a natural gift for her.
Yes.
So for those of you that it's not natural, keep listening because you might learn something, as we all did.
Yes.
So get ready. It's good.
And then at the end, we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about some unexpected benefits that come when you're involved in some real community. So make sure you hang out after the interview for that as well. All right, well, let's dive in.
All right, so we are hanging out with my dear friend Allysa Graham, and I'm so excited to have her on today to talk about social wellness. So welcome, Allysa.
Thank you.
All right, so give us a quick snapshot. Who is Allysa Graham in 60 seconds?
Well, I am a child of God, a wife, a mom. Relationship things come to mind, mom, daughter.
Hey, well, that works out because we're going to talk about relationship kind of things tonight. So that works perfect for this one.
Friend.
Yes.
Yes.
And what do you do for work?
Crafty things.
You are crafty.
I work at a daycare, which I really like. Mm-hmm. Today, me and Avery scared Rainy, and it was really funny. He made her last night. I go to the exchange with Tyler and Virginia.
No, that's perfect.
That's
Love it.
Allysa.
That's Allysa. That's some things about you. Well, hey, we're going to drag some more things out of you. A little section we like to call rapid fire questions. So the way this will work, we've got a couple of decks of cards that have questions on there, and they're color coordinated. So there's red, green, blue, or black. And so you get to pick a color, and we'll read the card, and you get to answer as quickly as you can.
Rapid fire. Okay, rapid.
Okay. All right, so red, green, blue, or black?
Blue.
What makes you feel old?
Hanging out with the students.
Yes.
What about hanging out with students makes you feel old?
When, for instance, I turn on like an NSYNC song and they're like, "What is that?" And I'm like,
"What?" NSYNC did die a long time ago in that defense.
Yeah.
But they are the best.
Mainstream songs that like I feel like they should still know.
That's so funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're way before my time, but I know some of their songs.
Maybe that's just more classic.
Yeah. We'll see. Some of our NSYNC type bands, we'll see if they make it into the classics category before too long. I don't know.
Backstreet Boys.
Oh, they still try to make music sometimes.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Meh.
Okay, next color.
Green.
If you could bring back one famous person from the dead, who would you pick?
I don't know. Jesus.
Oh, but is he dead anymore?
True.
But I'll accept the answer nonetheless.
That's a good one.
Would be cool to hang out with Jesus for sure.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, red, green, blue. Oh, go ahead.
No, I just said in the flesh.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. All right, well, red, green, blue, or black?
Red.
Okay. Would you rather be covered in bees or covered in spiders?
Ooh. I feel like well, what kind of spider?
It doesn't say.
Probably bees because I feel like you're less likely to die. They sting. You're not allergic, so
yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah. I don't know.
And they're flying, so
maybe they'll fly off.
Yeah, maybe they'll fly off.
That's fair. That's fair.
I'd be that one too much.
Yeah, I'd be more creeped out by, even if like I couldn't be harmed, I'd be more creeped out by spiders and would rather have a cuddly bee.
A cuddly bee?
Because they're like fuzzy and fat.
Some spiders are fuzzy.
Yeah, no, that's not cool.
Virginia just doesn't like spiders.
Yeah, there's a cartoon that came across a commercial or something I saw. Maybe it was on the TV at your mom's house.
Yeah.
And it was a spider. And they didn't make it, to me, they didn't even make it look like cute. It just looked like a big fuzzy spider with big eyes. And I was like, nope, we're not watching this.
I thought Luca looked cute. That's fine.
Luca.
That was his name. Luca, the spider, something like that.
No.
Yeah.
They could have made his eyes a little better. He'd look creepy to me.
All right, hit us with one more. Red, green, blue, or black?
Black.
Black it is. Going to hit all the colors. Who is your favorite hero of fiction? So it doesn't even have to be like superhero, just like a hero in any type of fiction.
Whether it be book or movie, TV show.
Oh, goodness.
I'm trying to think like what I think you would answer, and I don't have a clue.
I don't have a clue either, so you're right.
All right, how about this? What's one of your favorite book or TV series?
Well, I don't read many books.
That's okay.
Not a huge reader. When I do read, I read like Nicholas Sparks, so that's not.
What? Those are books.
Favorite TV series? I really like The Office.
Yeah.
Absolutely. As you should.
We love The Office. Who's your hero on The Office?
I really like Jim because he's always up to something.
I like Jim.
Frank's on Dwight. I love them.
Yeah. So apparently on my stories last year, it was a memory on Facebook. I had shared the part of the episode where Ron comes in after Jim because he had just kissed Pam. And he comes in to Roy, sorry, not Ron, Roy. And thank you. And as he's about to hit Jim, and Dwight pulls out the pepper spray and gets up. I was like, epic! Dwight's the hero in that episode for sure.
Every time.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, now we know some more things about Allysa a little bit. We've learned you a little bit more. So let's dive in. Allysa, we picked you for social wellness. Let's find out why. Why would we have picked Allysa Graham for social wellness?
I talk to everyone a lot.
That is accurate. You do like to talk to people. So how about this? When you think about being socially well, kind of what comes to your mind then?
I would think I actually looked up the definition, and it's like interacting well with others.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that if you are a social well person, then like even if you are like introverted and you don't particularly like to interact with others, if you are socially well, though, you can do it.
Yeah.
Like you have the ability.
Yeah.
Right.
To do it well.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think that introverts and extroverts, we might socialize differently to some degree, but still socializing. Yeah. I like that. All right. So I was gonna ask a question, but it left my mind.
That happens. Well, while you kind of think on that, how about this one? When you're kind of being social, do you prefer more like doing activities with people or having conversations with people?
Either, both.
Which one do you feel like kind of fills you up? Like you're more drawn to it versus the other, I guess.
Scott's in the background. Activities. do things. I really do.
Mm-hmm. What are some?
Mind having a conversation. Like I like to talk, obviously, but I like to do things.
Well, for example, one activity that you and I have done together where we were also able to have conversations was the mosaics that we did. So that was like a crafty activity, but we also were able to have conversations. Whereas some activities you probably don't get to conversate as much. Yeah.
Like if you go to the movies, that does not, like I like to go to the movies, but that's like a relaxing, chill thing. That's not like a social activity, in my opinion. Like if you're gonna go to the movies, you have to like go eat before or after or do something else.
Right.
It's not a
you can't be social while you're watching a movie. Yeah, so it sounds like you like to do something, but you also enjoy the conversations that you have with people. So you mentioned that you are somebody who like will talk to anybody, loves talking to people, will talk to anybody. So how do you do that with somebody who's different from you? You may not.
I don't understand the question.
So people that make think
different. Talk to anyone.
Alyssa's like, I can talk to anybody. It doesn't matter.
Different? What? I don't get it.
So like if you know this person maybe has a different belief system than you, like maybe even a different like faith, they grew up in a different culture or a different background, does that even create a barrier for you personally?
No.
That's awesome.
Like when I was in high school, now I did try to convert them, but I had a class with two girls who were atheists and they were dating each other. And did that stop me from talking to them? Absolutely not. And so I even tried to like talk about God with them and ask them why, they didn't believe in God, because like, why wouldn't you? And the one girl, she just, I don't know, she just had a rough life. But the other girl, like, her mom died. She had the why would God let my mom die? Like, that kind of thing. And my 14-year-old brain, was like, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I couldn't answer that for her.
It sounds like for you, it was just like you just saw him as a person. You saw him as a human. And even though they believe differently than you just wanted to talk to them and hear their side of the story and hear what they believe and why they believed it. So let's say for somebody who struggles to bond or connect with people who are different than them, for whatever reason they're different, what would you say? Like, how would you tell them to just go out there and do it? Just be social.
It's exactly like you just said. I mean, we're all people. We all have emotions, feelings, thoughts, reasons for those thoughts, reasons for thoughts. And sometimes with people, you have to dig a little deeper than surface to understand those thoughts, emotions, feelings.
Yeah.
And if you never speak to them, then you never will do that.
So true. It's like if you don't even try,
right?
You won't even know, or you won't even, be able to make a difference if it's needed or whatever. So I'm curious also, like, since we mentioned extrovert, introvert, like, because I know I struggle with this sometimes too, like, because I'm extrovert and I'll be going up to somebody like 90 miles an hour, like at level 10. And then I realized really quickly that they're at a level 1 on the energy or the social energy or whatever. And I'm like, pull it back. Okay, Virginia, chill out, calm down. And I know you and I've kind of talked about that before, kind of holding yourself back a little bit. But what do you do in those situations when you come in, like, because you're on our guest services team, so you're saying hey to people and connecting with people who walk in and out of our church building who may have been there for a while or who are new. And so I'm just curious, what do you do in a situation where you face somebody who's on a completely different social energy level than you?
Well, I have, just in general, like, I try to dial it back a little. But then if I realize that their energy level is higher, like, I'll meet their energy level. But so as to not scare people, I try not to come at people at a 10 if I don't know them. Because, I don't want to scare them.
Yeah, so it sounds like you start out a little bit lower and then fill it out. Like, if you can go higher, let's go higher. Oh, I love that.
Good wisdom in that one.
Yeah.
I can get behind it. All right, well, we'll still keep digging into different and introvert, extrovert. How about this one? We know, obviously, you can hit a 10, but Scott, your husband, is not necessarily a 10 in conversations. So how do you guys balance maybe your desire to be super social and interact with all the people and maybe his desire to kind of hide in the corner a little bit because he's not looking for as much interaction as you are?
Well, I guess we do it like you do anything else in a marriage. Like, there's compromise and there's give and take, and sometimes we stay home when I want to go out. Sometimes we go out when he wants to stay home, and sometimes we leave early. Sometimes we, just whatever we have to do, that's what we do.
That's really sweet.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really sweet. So, I know a lot of times they say like opposites attract for marriages or even friends sometimes, but I think it can be a nice little balance as long as you are willing to be considerate of the other person and their feelings and how they connect with others or whatever it is. So it sounds like that's what you guys do, and that's super awesome.
I try hard.
So before Scott, did you know that you came in at a 10 and learned to kind of level it back? Or did he kind of was he part of you figuring that out? He's giving you lots of nods.
Giving you nods.
Yeah. Before I knew Scott, I did not know introverted people existed. Like, my friends were always like, if I was at my house, they were at my house. If they were at their house, I was at their house. Like, we all just bounced around between houses every week. We never were at our own house by ourselves. It was very rare. Like, we always, even if we were at our own houses for that weekend, like we went skating, we went to the movies, we did something out of our house. Like, we wanted to be out of our houses as much as we could be.
Okay, so how did you meet Scott?
So my best friend and his best friend were dating, and they both had a best friend that wasn't dating anyone. So they each brought their best friend to hang out one night, and that's how we met.
Love it.
There's like a little like meme or saying thing that goes around social media sometimes, and I'm gonna get it wrong, but it basically is saying like introverts have friends because their extroverts like impose themselves upon them. I don't remember exactly what it says, but I was like, I'm that friend that's like up in my introvert friend's business, even though they may not want me to be, but it sounds like that's what happened to Scott.
Yep. I can relate to that a little bit. That's Matthew for me sometimes. Matthew will drag me into things. I'm like, I really had no intentions of being anywhere or doing anything outside of my home today, but sure, Matthew, for you, buddy, I'll come hang out.
It's very like you in that way. Like, an ideal bro date is each of you sitting on your Xboxes and nobody saying a word.
And I'm on board for that.
That is so funny. That is so funny.
Well, not only are you a social person, you are also a very caring person. While you might be a level 10 sometimes, you're not an unaware, suck all the energy out of the room level 10. You're typically looking to give back to everybody that's around you. So as you're being such a caring person for the people you connect with, how do you kind of care for yourself in those moments?
Honestly, like, me being around people is like my self-care. Like, I say all the time that student life and life group and church are my self-care. Because, like, in my mind, my self-care is building me up, and me being around other life-giving people gives me life.
Yeah.
And y'all are that for me.
We love you.
I love it.
I like that. I'm the same way. And I know, again, we can label ourselves introverts, extroverts. We energize differently. But for me, yeah, I'm the same way. It's like, I want to be around people. And when I'm alone for an extended period of time, that's when my mental health starts to decline. Yeah. And so, right. So I know that, like, community is important. I think it was Jackie Hill Perry. She posted something one day and she said, whether you're extrovert or you're introvert, we are all humans created by God in need of community, something along those lines. And it's so true, because it's like, it really doesn't matter where you get your energy from, as far as introvert, extrovert goes, but community is important. It just might, look a little different. What about, I'm curious, like, people that struggle to let you in, like, if you're trying to, get to know them, what do you do?
I try to dial it back even more. Because, like I said before, I don't want to scare people. And I'm a lot sometimes. I just try to, like I said on the other question, I just try to read where they are, and if they just will not, because I know some days you just don't want to people. I try not to people with them.
Fair enough.
Or someone to people that doesn't want to people.
Well, that's real. That's real. What are some of your cues that you look for that somebody's not wanting to people with you?
Like, if they're looking away, if they're really quiet, if they look like they're very anxious to move. Well, those are all cues for me that they really do not want to be in this conversation.
Fair enough. Do you get those cues from me? Just a random question on the side?
No, it's like I told you the other day. You're the most extroverted introvert I've ever met. Like, you introvert well, and Tyler was like, I'm like a 60-40, and I was like, I see that.
Yeah. The joke I sometimes make is I'm not an extrovert, but I play one on TV. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he plays a good extrovert, but he definitely needs his alone time.
I go and die when I get done playing extrovert.
Yeah. Okay, so Allysa.
Yes.
I guess it's my turn to ask a question. I feel like I keep asking them. Okay, so you're a parent.
Yes.
Do you feel like, or how has parenting or becoming a parent hampered your ability to be social?
It has hampered. Are we gonna do the good things too now, or do I need to throw them?
You can do both. Absolutely.
Do both. Yeah.
Okay. Well, to answer that question, it has hampered because sometimes if you want to go out, like to do mosaics, like we have to make sure with our husbands that we have childcare.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to go on date night with your husband, you have to look for childcare outside of yourselves.
Yeah.
So that kind of, and sometimes he works because he works a lot. So I figure something out.
Right.
And then the good things are that when you have children, you find friends and other moms, and then you get to hang out while they're hanging out. So
yeah, I love that you were like, I want to tell you the positives about parenting.
Optimistic.
Yes, very much the optimist. But you're very right. Like childcare obviously is a barrier for many parents.
Mm-hmm.
But I love that you found the good in like in parenting and still trying to be social. Like you can find other parents, have your kids hang out, and then you get to connect with those parents.
Yes.
So that's definitely a way to look at it, a good perspective to have rather than I can't ever hang out with anybody because I need somebody to watch my kid.
Yeah, I can very much see you being say that again.
Sometimes you find other adults that don't mind children or don't mind your child, like Pam. She doesn't particularly find joy in being around children, but she knows that sometimes if she invites me places or we go do something, I bring greatly.
Yep. No, that's good.
So I'm thankful for that.
Absolutely. No, that's awesome.
Thankful for grace.
Yep.
Yes.
I can always envision you as the mom at the playground who kind of uses the playground as the opportunity to go talk with the other parents. You're like, oh, hello, I have children or a child too. How are you today?
Yes.
That's how I envision it.
Playground with him.
Do what?
If I'm not on the playground with him.
Right.
Fair. Yep.
Because a lot of playgrounds now are parent friendly.
Yeah, they are. I go down the slide a lot.
We went to the new one today by the Children's Museum. It's epic, by the way.
I'll have to check that one out. I don't think we've been there.
It's huge. I've been driving by it on 55 and it's humongous.
We'll have to check that out soon.
It's real. I mean, like, I want to go without the kid and then go with the kid, you know, like, let me have my own fun.
No, that's good.
Say that again.
There's all kinds of things in it.
Right.
Well, if you're comfortable talking about it a little bit, Brantley does have some autism. How has that played a role in some of your ability to be social?
Well, for a while, he was going to therapy twice a week, so I made friends there in the waiting room.
I love that.
But it was really good for us because it was like we got therapy while they got therapy. Because, like, no one understands having a special needs child like another mom of a special needs child.
Sure.
Like, if you meet, non-autistic children, you've met non-autistic children, but still some of the struggles and stuff overlap. So, like, for them and us.
Yeah. Yeah, so it sounds like You're making friends, even in the waiting room. I
Yes,
love that you said that was like therapy for you too,
yes, it was.
while the kids were in therapy. So again, I just love your positivity there. So what else? What other ways has it impacted your social ability?
Well, also when you do have a special needs child, either A, you don't trust them as freely with others, and two, others are not as freely to keep them because they're just intimidated and they are scared something crazy is going to happen and they're not going to know what to do. And I mean, luckily for me with Brantley, like he's pretty chill. Like he's got a juice pouch, a Lunchable, and a TV. Then he's pretty good.
Happy.
Like it doesn't take much for him.
Yeah.
It was cool getting to watch you a couple of weeks ago. Another mom in our group was talking about the fact that her son was getting tested to see whether or not he might potentially have autism, and it was cool getting to watch you just like very calmly encourage her in that moment and use your years of wisdom with Brantley to kind of build her up, because in that moment she doesn't know, she's just got a lot of questions. So that was awesome to watch.
Yeah, when you first like even the thought crosses your mind, you just think of like, oh my goodness, like what do I do?
Hmm.
And it's intimidating because you know before you have children that parenting is going to be hard at times, and then you have this whole new curveball thrown at you, and it's like, okay, so now this is a whole different animal.
Mm-hmm.
But like I've told you, like with Brantley, like I am truly blessed. Like he is not a whole lot different than the average child. Now he is cognitive delayed also and language delayed, so we do have that. But as far as like the aggression and some autistic children, they have more struggles than Brantley. And
Mm-hmm.
so their parents have more struggles.
Yeah.
And we have not had those.
Yeah.
Like people look at me and they think, oh, you poor thing. And I'm like, I truly feel blessed. Like it could be worse.
Yeah. I feel like you would obviously be optimistic and positive, even if it, was a higher level, I guess. But we also know that your strength comes from the Lord. So whatever circumstance you're put in, He's going to bring you through it. So that's clearly evident in your walk, but also in your parenting. So definitely really cool to hear you say that.
Well, speaking of your faith, how has your faith kind of prompted you to make friendships, or does it make hindrances in your friendships? Like, how's it affect friendship, I guess, is really the question.
Well, obviously, church provides community, and our life group has provided community for me. And I really liked that since I joined. Thank you, Virginia.
Yep.
It can sometimes hinder because, like, especially if you're in the 20 to 30 age range, like sometimes people want to do things that you don't want to do, and they like call you uptight and things like that, and think you're no fun, and that sort of thing. And it kind of hurts a little bit, but
Yeah.
it's not, to me, it's not that they're calling me whatever or saying whatever or whatever. It's that they don't want to hang out with me.
Yeah.
So the part that more hurtful for you is just or trying to think of how I wanted to say that question. Let me roll it back. So for you, the part that you tend to see isn't necessarily like, oh, people are persecuting you because of your faith. They're just like, oh, I'm gonna give Allysa some space and let her go over there, or I'm gonna go over here, kind of thing.
Yes. And it's usually before like they even know me really well. It's like they find out I don't want to go like to the club or drinking or whatever, and they're like, well, she's boring, lame, whatever. It's like they write you off before they even know you, just from that.
Yeah.
So less about your faith and just more about your actions. They just go, she's not going to fit in with our group because she doesn't act the way we act.
Right.
That's fair. Okay. Well, when you are making friends, people who aren't hindered by your actions, we'll go with. Well, how do you take somebody from acquaintance that I met randomly here or there, all the way to the level of Alyssa's new best friend?
I just feel like you have to like kind of keep in touch, and I've learned not to keep in touch too much because that scares people off.
That's me.
Scott's in here. Yes. Scott taught me that actually.
Oh my goodness.
It's like when I meet people, it's like I get a pretty quick vibe of if I'm gonna like them and we're gonna be friends and we're gonna gel or not.
Yep.
And okay, best friend, what are we doing tomorrow? Like I one of meeting them, and Scott's
it's the classic don't call them for 3 days rule.
Right. That's what I've learned. Like you give it a week or two. Then you check back in.
That is so funny.
Well, I will say, as one of us who never checks back in, we need you guys to check in with us sometimes. I mean, yeah, don't overwhelm us, but we do need you to check in because we probably won't. So thank you, Allysa, for checking back in with people like us who don't.
But yes, I guess that's kind of how Virginia and my friendship blossomed.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
Like we met in the bathroom at church.
That's right.
Fantastic. Good start to any story.
Especially for a female. Like, the bathroom is the place.
Guys don't talk in the bathroom.
And now
we're friends. Yeah, I think that you're so right. Like, just to keep the connection, keep in touch is so important. There's definitely seasons of life that you can go through where maybe you're not keeping as in touch as you would like to, or, it would be ideal. But just keeping in touch, whether it's a text message or a call, or hanging, actually like getting together and hang out. We always kind of have this thing of like, if we're going to say we're going to hang out with somebody, let's like actually schedule it right away. Because if you don't do that, then it's like, yeah, we need to do that sometime. And then it never happens. And you can kind of get in a rut of doing that. And then you end up like being at your house all the time and wondering why you don't have friends or why you don't have anybody to hang out with. But I think like even social media, it can be a social platform. But it can, as Tyler has said before, it can kind of create this false sense of community. It's like, oh yeah, like I see you all the time on Facebook or Instagram. I see your stories. I see what you're doing. And Allysa, I know you're not, from what I can tell, you don't seem to be one who's like on social media a whole lot. But how do you feel like, how do you feel like being one that kind of doesn't get on it too much? Like, how do you feel social media might be impacting our social wellness with our community?
I think it is hindering it, to be honest.
How so?
People feel like they keep in touch well enough because they see what's going on in your life, so they know what's going on in your life, so they don't have to text you, hey, what'd you do last week? Because they saw you were at Disneyland. I mean,
right.
They know what you did last week, so
yeah,
could use it as if you used it the way it was intended, you would be like sending messages and like seeing that they went to Disneyland and, hey, I saw you went to Disneyland. Did you have fun? Like using it like that. But most people don't do that. They just scroll through and they's like, well, I know what she's been up to. Mm-hmm. And that's it.
Yeah. You know, something I've been discovering over the past year, to kind of add to this conversation. I think this is why I asked it, because it's kind of been on my heart. But and I don't want to poop on social media. I you know, I definitely think there's good in social media, but I do think it is, well, I'm learning there's probably not as much good in social media, or how it's impacting our communities and our friendships. But one thing that I've learned is that when we get close to the people around us in person, so whether that be, you know, your few friends that you truly, you know, love and adore, and you're intentional about caring for and hanging out with, or if it is maybe your life group, maybe it's a little bit, you know, a little bit further out on the spectrum of like closeness. But what I've noticed is that as I've gotten closer to people in my life in person, I don't feel the need to go to social media and tell you what I'm doing. Tell the world, the 1,000 people, whatever, followers, friends, quotation mark friends, what I'm doing. And it's like literally, like, I love to share food, right? Like, you know, y'all know me, like I love food, I love to cook. And social media is one place where I've done a lot of sharing of that. But one of the things that I've noticed is like, I want to share this with a friend rather than all these people that don't know me. So it's like, I'll send a picture like to Allysa. I'll send a picture to a friend to say, hey, this is what I'm eating tonight, rather than like sharing it with the world. Not that that's a bad thing. And I don't, like, again, I still do it. You'll still see me share what I cooked, you know, but, I found that it's just so much more special to share with your friends for real than just to share out into the abyss of your social media connections. And the closer I get to my people in person, the less compelled I am to share on social media. Like, say that again.
You can send me food anytime.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, send me all the food pictures and the recipes along with them.
I want another recipe too.
Well, tonight we had Greek Mediterranean fries, so I'll send you that because they were yummy.
Delish. Anything with better cheese is delicious.
Yeah. You, Scott and Brantley may not eat it, but I think you would like it.
There you go. So do you find maybe that's part of why you don't enjoy or get on social media as much, because you're focused on the more personal connections?
I think so. I think it's like you said, like my love language is quality time, but I like quality time. Like,
Yep.
I would rather go have coffee with Virginia or like go do mosaics than see what she did, like what she put on Facebook. Like, I'm a social person. I don't mind being in big groups of people, but I'm very likely within that big group of people to have like 25 small conversations, like one conversations.
No, that's good. I've learned over the years, as I've spent time in the church social media world, that more often than not, as much as we spend a lot of time, and I say we, like the content creators, spend a lot of time on that big post that goes out on the main page to all the things, while those are good and maybe they're doing something, maybe they're not, it's really always the direct messages that we get to send and interact with people where real experiences of life change tend to happen. So even within that, it's that more personal thing of that we seem to all be craving. You just do a better job of connecting in it than others of us do.
Yes, like if you're a social person, you probably like the direct messages more, but I could see how like introverted people could be very intimidated.
I leave them on red sometimes. I get to them. I leave them there for a minute just so that I feel like I was in control of that situation, which is way too honest for this moment. But yeah, now you know that about me, guys. No, that's good. That's good. All right. Well, has your faith ever prompted you to make friendships that maybe you wouldn't have made otherwise?
I would say that, like, I have always been taught to talk to everyone, and you treat the janitor the same as the CEO. Like, that sort of mentality is how I was raised. And I just feel like if Jesus loved them, who am I not to?
Mm-hmm.
Jesus loved them, who am I not to?
Yeah.
No, that's good.
I love that it comes natural to you. Just and we're all made differently, and social ability or whatever, socialness doesn't always come as natural for some people. So to hear from somebody that it's just very natural to just love on people, we're all human. You do have that faith component of Jesus loved everybody. Like, why wouldn't I? Like, duh, kind of thought there. But I know it can be maybe more. I'm like you, Allysa. I'm like, let's just chit chat to everybody. Now, you are definitely more, I think, kind-hearted and social than I am, and I love that about you. But I can see that, like, the love of Jesus that has been poured out onto all of us, onto you, you want to share that with others, and you've been naturally gifted with your social abilities, and basically that means you've stewarded your personality, your gift well by pointing people to Jesus in that. And it could be a conversation with a girl at 14 years old in your class who didn't believe in God, and all it was just you listened. You listened to her. You weren't necessarily trying to make her believe in your God. You just listened to her, and that natural socialness that you had with her could have moved mountains, but it may not have been until years later, and you may never know what happens. Or it just opened the door for maybe another conversation to happen for somebody else. But you were faithful in your obedience to what God has called us to do as far as bringing others to know Him, and you've used your natural gift well in that. So we see that. That's why we chose you to talk about social wellness, and it is natural for you. And for those that don't find it as natural, but are hearing Allysa say, like, just go out there and do it. Just talk to Him. We're all human. Jesus loves us all. I would encourage those of us that find it more difficult to just pray about that and help the Holy Spirit guide you in that, in that fruit of being able to be social with others in whatever way that looks like, since it can look different for us all. So just wanted to tie a little bow on that, and say that I've loved having you as a friend. So it's been so good getting to hear from you personally. But before we go,
the final question for you.
We have to ask.
What's something messy in your life that you're loving, Allysa?
Okay, so I thought about this.
You were ready.
I was ready. For me, it's the month of December.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk to us about the messiness of December and why you love it.
Well, I'm a huge fan of Christmas. I get the stuff up as quickly as I possibly can. My birthday is December 20th, which is Monday. So,
okay.
Usually us that have birthdays within like 20 days of Christmas, we get the one thing and we are told Merry Christmas, Happy Birthday. If anyone even tells us Happy Birthday.
Sure.
Because everyone is scrambling by the 20th to do all the Christmas things. So I'm really thankful that I really love Christmas.
Right.
I love it. And it's always so busy though. You've got to shop, you've got to go do the things, like all the parties and lights and all the fun things that come with Christmas. You got to go do them all. Well, I feel like I have to go do them all. I have to do them all.
Yeah.
But I feel like you have to do them all. You have to experience all the things of Christmas because it's so much fun. And it's usually, to most people, only 1 month out of the year. So you have to get it all in.
Right. I think it's funny how it all falls into this 1 month just because it falls around Christmas. But a lot of things that we celebrate at Christmas can be celebrated throughout the year. Obviously, I'm talking about Jesus, but
Yep.
But yeah, no, I think December it is so messy. It can be so hard and you want to enjoy it, but it can be really difficult sometimes. So you're just saying go and do all the things, have fun.
Yes.
Find the connection points in the middle of it and maybe slow down. I think that's the thing I watch Allysa do plenty. And when I'm running around on a Sunday trying to do things and Allysa wants to stop and talk, I do my best and I slow down and talk. Because slowing down sometimes makes for a much more meaningful moment.
Stop and smell the roses.
Keep you long because I know you're running.
No, you're good. I never mind it.
Things to do than stand there and talk to me.
No, not at all. Not at all. Are there things to be done sometimes? Sure, but never more important than having a conversation with a friend.
Never.
I love it.
Really special coming from you, Tyler.
Good. Well, thank you so much for spending a little time hanging out with us, helping us. Yes, absolutely. Hopefully, through all this, we learned a little bit about slowing down and just having the interaction with people. I loved your statement of treating everybody the same, from the janitor to the CEO. I think that pretty aptly sums up who Allysa Graham is and how you act. So we appreciate it. For all you guys out there listening, we're going to take a quick pause, but don't leave because we're going to spend a few more minutes talking about some of the impacts community can make on your life in some surprising ways. So we'll be right back.
All right. Well, that was really fun hearing from our friend Allysa. And again, like we said earlier, like, even if it's not your natural ability to just be a social butterfly, it's okay.
I'm not.
It's like, Tyler, it's totally fine. But what we're about to talk about with community, I think will be really helpful in maybe branching out a little bit, turning from a caterpillar to a butterfly.
Love it.
But yeah, Allysa gave us a lot of good, just insight to her, her personality, but also like what it means to be social, in a way that is like life-giving and Jesus pointing. So I'm super excited that you guys got to hear that. And now we're about to give you the 10 unexpected benefits of real community.
Yes. And when we say real community, we're really leaning into like Jesus follower community is what we mean by that. And so as we lean into that community, the very first thing it does for us is it challenges us to be more like Jesus. Like that's just guaranteed. If you're hanging out, you're spending time engaged with Christian community, it should call you to be more like Jesus. Like you should feel that challenge a little bit, but in a positive way, not like a shameful like.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, like we're not trying to be rude or crass or make people feel bad because they're not as good a Christian as I am. It's just about challenging all of us.
And I could talk on this for a really long time, but I'll try to keep it short and just say that even if it's not like a Bible study community, like your friends who are also believers, if you, or at least one of you in the group is growing towards the Lord, their walk is growing more mature, then it will be an inspiration to others and challenge others. And so again, like I want to say, look inward and change your perspective so that you don't take it in the wrong way. Like see a person who is running hard towards Jesus and be an inspiration rather than a competition. Okay, because we're all running this race and there ain't no winners. So let's like run hard together and let's do it in community so we can bring each other along and link arms and go. But yeah, talking about just being in community should challenge you to be more like Jesus. And if it's not, I would say look at your own walk with the Lord and maybe think about, are my friends pointing me towards Jesus?
Community will also meet your practical needs. I think about the early church, Acts 2, as they're literally selling things to fund the people that aren't from there. So, as Bible knowledge for you for a minute. So, the whole reason they were having to sell things to fund each other's life, basically, is because so many people, our dogs out there, man, so many of these people had come to Jerusalem for the Pentecost festivals, and because they encountered this whole new thing with Jesus, that wasn't really a new thing, but it kind of was, they encountered this new thing, and they don't want to leave, because this is where their community is that has brought them into this belief in Jesus. And so they don't want to leave, but all of their life and all their savings and their jobs are somewhere else. And so they need people to support them. And that's what Christian community does. It looks around at the people around them and says, hey, like, you struggling? Let me help you as best I can. That doesn't mean I can solve all your problems, but let me help as best I can.
Yeah, one way that we experienced this, or I did, when we had COVID in our household. Me, when I had COVID, nobody else did.
I'm immune.
Back in early part of the year, you have to think about it. If you get COVID, you're quarantined. You can't go to the pharmacy and buy medicine. You can't go to the grocery store because now your whole house is quarantined. So I had to rely on a friend to go buy me medicine and go buy me food. And they also, had brought us a little care package. And I remember when a friend in the future got COVID, and I was like, y'all can't go to the pharmacy. How can I help you to get the medicine you need? So that's just one really practical way that like your needs can be met in community, but you have to let people do it for you.
Yep. Number 3, community carries you emotionally. Now, we have established many times on this podcast, I'm emotionless. So, Virginia, how does it carry us emotionally?
Okay, so I think about this, like we talk about like going to therapy to help, deal with your emotions, and I say deal with, to manage your emotions, to understand what's going on inside your head, and just be able to deal with life, in a healthy way. What I've really learned is in community, that's almost like a level of therapy.
Yes.
And I'm not saying it necessarily replaces therapy. If you need therapy, like definitely go get it. But if you have a close-knit community that is pointing you to Jesus and lifting you up and praying for you and helping you handle those emotions, we literally are carrying each other's burdens. And so I just think about my friends when one of us is feeling down or has something going on, like we just reach out to them. We're like, hey, can you pray for me on this? This is what I'm dealing with. And even just, it's not, like prayer is awesome. Prayer is huge. But like then it gives us the opportunity to be like, hey, like I feel you on that. Like I've experienced that before, or let me lift you up, whatever. It just gives you that community, that sense of like, we are actually carrying each other's burdens.
That's good. Community reveals your gifts and talents. So think about it this way. Sometimes your friend needs help with a thing, and so you go and help them, and it turns out you were good at a thing you didn't even know you were. I think about our time in Australia. I've always known, or I've known for my adult life, say it that way, that I'm decent on stage. I've got an okay stage presence, but I did not actually know that translated somewhat into an acting type realm. But I got called in by a friend to come and help out with the Mark drama, and I really didn't want to, wasn't really interested, but friend had a need, and so I was willing to say yes. And by the end of it, turned out to be something I both enjoyed and had some skill at. I don't think I'm going to go make a career in Hollywood or anything, but had some decent skill at. And so it revealed a talent I didn't know was there.
Yeah, I think your friends can help you see the talents and gifts that you have, because you may not necessarily, they see it, but you may not necessarily see it or realize it. Or because like y'all are working together on something, it shows up and they're able to point it out. And I think that's a great way that you can reveal your gifts and talents is by being in community with others. Or you can sit at home and be by yourself and think, nobody loves you and you can't do anything.
Community also takes and it opens up your eyes to the needs of others. Now, we already said it meets practical needs and kind of geared that one towards yourself. And obviously being in community does open your eyes to the needs of others in your community. But I think sometimes it even just opens your eyes to things you didn't see outside of your immediate community. Like your friend has a passion for an area of life that you're not familiar with, but as you've started to listen to their passion, kind of can find the passion in it as well.
Our dog
always snores.
Yeah, so I kind of just think it's a perspective shift too. Like you just get out of your own little world, because of course we all have needs, we all have burdens, we all have hardships, but then you can actually see that there's other people that have needs as well. So yeah, you just kind of can give you a new perspective on life and see the needs of others and give you the opportunity then to meet some of those needs in others.
Yep. Community empowers your relationship with God. Now, again, already said it challenges you to be more like Jesus, aka kind of live out your faith. But it also, like this empowering your relationship is more that go deeper, understand, not just understand, but experience more. I mean, there's few things more empowering than watching your friend have these like super passion moments in their faith. I mean, there could be that level of like, you almost get like, oh, they're too uppity in their faith. But if we're not being too judgmental in ourselves and not feeling shamed or anything.
Or projecting what we feel about ourselves.
There's what I was trying to say.
Onto
Thank
them.
you. Yes, projecting ourselves, on there. It can really strengthen you as well.
Yeah. I think for this, like, you see your friends, like I said, running hard towards Jesus, and then they have, something revealed to them, or the Holy Spirit moves in them and just really speaks to them, and you see that happening, then that can then empower you to go, I can have that experience too. I want that experience. And now you're running hard towards going deeper with the Lord. And then it's just like I was going to say a domino effect, but not a domino effect. I'm trying to imagine like a bouncy ball, like in a hole, like in a bubble that just bounces, and it just keeps like bouncing off like the walls and the ceilings. And it's just like, it just keeps going and it never stops, because you are all running towards Jesus and you're all having these moments with the Spirit, and you all are trying to just further your relationship with the Lord.
That's good. I love it. Community helps meet our need for love. Because ultimately, we are all created to crave love. And while we do very much get that from God, obviously, He also created us to experience love, not just like physical or like marital spouse type love, like just the love and care of a good friend.
Well, yeah. I mean, you think about it, like, for one, God is community in Himself, okay? Yep. God, Holy Spirit, Jesus. So He is, and I heard somebody say this the other day, it's like He is community and He created us in His image, therefore we are community. Mm-hmm. We are supposed to live in community, and it doesn't have to be just, a marital type love. In the sense of like, it can be friendship love, it can be, family love, it can be marital love. I think it all can reflect the love that the Lord has for us and meet that need.
Yep. So community offers opportunities for confession, which leads to healing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, There are a few circles that can pull truth out of you in positive, life-giving ways, quite the way your close Jesus follower community does. There's just something about it as you're walking together that almost makes you desire to share and go, hey, like, I'm struggling with this thing. And sometimes that's the exact sometimes, all the time, being able to speak it out loud is the thing we needed to start taking the steps towards healing.
Yeah, exactly. Because it brings light to the darkness within you.
Mm-hmm.
The truth brings freedom. It will set you free. And I mean, if you think about it, you can't actually repent if you never confess. So, and who are you, if you were alone, obviously you can confess to God. But because we are supposed to be in community, God is calling you to confess to your people so that you can lead to recovery and healing and growth. We have to confess our sins, confess our darkness, confess anything, that's going on inside of us so that we can actually grow in our faith.
And then community teaches you to work through conflict, which is just not a real thing right now. The number of people who quit jobs by literally just stop showing up and answering the phone call is astronomical. It's wild that people literally they don't ever even tell somebody hey, I quit. I'm not coming back to work. They just never come back or answer a phone call or text or email.
That's crazy.
It's a common thing. And so we obviously don't like to work through conflict, but when we're in genuine community with people, we either got to lean in and go, hey, there's conflict here, let's work through it. We got to pretend like it's not there, which is going to cause all kinds of issues, or we have to just run away. And again, who wants to run away from their people that they're closest with? You're going to desire to work it out, even though it's difficult.
Yeah. I mean, when you're with humans, it's inevitable. Conflict is going to be there. It's going to happen.
Yep.
I was listening to this podcast recently that was talking about friendship. And friendship can be hard. Relationships can be hard. We know that. We're all human. We're all broken. And we're all sinful. When you run away from it, you don't actually solve anything.
Mm-hmm.
You harbor, at that point, then there's harbored resentment, unforgiveness, and a loss of a friend. Whereas you could work through the conflict and come out on the other side of it even closer than before with that friend, and probably even closer to the Lord because you work through the conflict, because we know that sin or that unforgiveness or whatever that can put up a wall between you and the Lord as well as it does your friend that you are having conflict with.
And then number 10 stems right off of having to work through conflict. Community gives you the chance to forgive. And I think it works in both directions, of both being able to forgive yourself because people you're close with, that you have this kind of close community with, even if you did wrong them, they're also probably, when they're in healthy places, going to lean in and go, hey, yeah, you did, but cut yourself some slack. I get it. I'm not. Yeah, they're going to
forgive you.
They're going to forgive you. And then it's also an opportunity for you to learn to forgive them when they're in the wrong.
And I mean, I don't know if you've noticed in the Bible, but it says a lot of times that your forgiveness of others actually does matter. Okay, I can't remember where the actual scripture is right now, but just there's different places in scripture where it's and forgive others, less so that the Lord will forgive you. So I mean, it's really important that we are practicing forgiveness.
I love it. 10 unexpected benefits of real community. Lean in, find that community if you don't already have it. If you do have it, lean in even further. It's going to help strengthen your life in so many awesome ways.
So special.
Yep. Well, guys, we've only got one episode left in the 8 Dimensions of Wellness series. And as a Christmas present for you guys, we're going to go ahead and drop that a week early on Christmas Eve. It's going to be fantastic. So as you're driving to Grandma's house, go ahead and start that podcast up for our very last one, which is spiritual wellness. We've already sat down and had that interview. It's phenomenal.
Fire.
It is the one to anchor the series. And that will close out 2022. Or 2021, excuse me, before we get into 2022
yeah, wow.
for the Boles of Life podcast.
I can't believe it.
Yep.
Thank you guys for joining us on this journey. We have a few things we'll ask of you before you go. You can go to bolesoflife.com to find anything related to the Boles in this podcast. At thebolesoflife.com, you can also go to the podcast tab where you can listen to the podcast, but you can also tell us what is messy in your life that you are loving. If you haven't heard it yet, we did feature our first recording from Carrie Puckett on the last episode where she told us what is messy in her life that she's loving. So we want to hear more from you guys. So don't forget to do that. But as well, we want you to subscribe to the podcast so that you don't miss it when we come out with a new episode. Share it with your friends. Give us a rating of 5 stars, hopefully, and a review because that helps other people find the podcast.
And in 2022, we're going to take some time and read some of the reviews we have gotten in the past. So if you want to make sure you make it on the air as a read review, drop that on there as well.
All right. Well, we have had fun talking with you guys today about social wellness, and we hope your messy lives are not too crazy and you find some adventure in it.
See you guys again soon.